Have you ever seen someone walk into a room and instantly command attention? In the early 2000s, there was one model who did exactly that on every runway she touched. Tall, golden, with legs that seemed to go on forever. Gisele Bündchen wasn't just another beautiful face in a sea of models. She was the face that changed everything. When fashion was obsessed with waif-thin bodies and hollow cheeks, she arrived with curves, confidence, and a megawatt smile. Designers who once rejected her suddenly couldn't book her fast enough. Brands fought over her, willing to pay whatever it took. For 15 years straight, no model in the world made more money than her. $500 million. That's the empire she built. While other models focused on the next campaign, she was planning the next decade. But behind the success was something more. A woman who saw the brutal, demanding world of fashion for what it was, and decided to beat it at its own game. This is the story of Gisele Bündchen, the model who wasn't just a part of the fashion industry. She became bigger than it. Before the catwalks of Paris and New York, before the record-breaking contracts and the global fame, Gisele Bündchen was just a tall, skinny Brazilian girl who never thought of herself as beautiful. Born on July 20, 1980, in the tiny town of Horizontina, Brazil, Gisele grew up as one of 6 daughters in a household of German descendants. Life was simple, small town, close family, far away from the glitz and glamour of high fashion. As a teenager, Gisele was all limbs, tall, gangly, with a frame that earned her the nickname Olive Oil from classmates. She played volleyball, dreamed of being a professional player. Modeling wasn't even on her radar, but fate stepped in. In 1994, during a school trip to São Paulo, Gisele was spotted in a shopping mall. A modeling scout saw something in the 14-year-old that she couldn't see herself. Within a year, she was in a modeling competition. By 1996, she had packed her bags and moved to New York City. She was just 16 years old, barely spoke English, and the reception wasn't warm. America wasn't ready for her look. Your nose is too big. Your eyes are too small. Too exotic. That's what the agencies told her. This was the era of heroine chic. Kate Moss's waif-like figure dominated. Pale skin, hollowed cheeks. Gisele, with her curves and golden tan, didn't fit the mold. But then came the moment that changed everything. Alexander McQueen's runway show titled Rain. The runway was flooded with water. Models were expected to walk through it. Gisele, with no formal training, no runway experience, was sent out in heavy black makeup and no top. She didn't stumble. She didn't hesitate. She owned that runway like she'd been doing it her whole life. McQueen called her the body. And just like that, the industry that had rejected her was suddenly obsessed. Gisele Bündchen wasn't just joining the fashion world, she was about to transform it. By the late 90s, fashion was ready for a change. The heroine chic look that had dominated runways was starting to feel tired, dark, almost depressing. And in walked Gisele, golden skin, athletic building, radiating health and vitality. She didn't just book shows, she became the show. Designers didn't just want her, they needed her. In 1999, Vogue declared the end of the heroine chic era. The headline? The return of the sexy model. And Gisele was leading the charge. Her runway walk became legendary. The way she moved, the confidence, the power. They called it the horse walk. High knees, feet barely touching the ground as if she was galloping down the runway. No one could take their eyes off her. Then came Victoria's Secret. When Gisele signed with them in 2000, it wasn't just another contract. It was a coronation. For the next 7 years, she defined what it meant to be an angel. The wings, the fantasy bra, the prime spot closing the show. Victoria's Secret wasn't just selling lingerie. They were selling the Gisele lifestyle. And Gisele? She was selling herself. Smart, strategic, always thinking ahead. By 2000, she had secured a $25 million contract with Victoria's Secret, record-breaking at the time. But that was just at the beginning. Chanel, Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, Versace. The contracts kept coming. The numbers kept growing. and in 2004, she achieved something unprecedented. Forbes named her the highest-paid model in the world, a title she would hold for the next 15 years straight. No model before or since has come close to that record. But Gisele wasn't satisfied with just dominating runways. She was building something bigger, a brand that would outlast any campaign, an empire that would thrive long after the last camera flash faded. By the mid-2000s, Gisele knew something most models never figure out. Modeling has an expiration date. The industry is always looking for the next new face, the next big thing. But Gisele wasn't going to let the industry decide when her time was up. She started making moves beyond the catwalk. First came the business ventures. In 2010, she launched Saja, her own skincare line. All natural, eco-friendly, a reflection of her growing passion for environmental causes. Next, a lingerie partnership with Hope, a Brazilian brand, not just lending her name, but designing the pieces herself. Then sandals with Grandine, a Brazilian footwear company. The Ipanema line became one of the most successful celebrity licensing deals ever. Every year, they sell millions of pairs around the world. But Gisele's vision expanded beyond business. She became a vocal advocate for environmental causes. In 2009, she was appointed a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Environment Program. She created the Agua Limpa, clean water project in her hometown, planted over 40,000 trees in the Atlantic forest. This wasn't just for show. Gisele was using her platform to drive real change. Her activism wasn't without controversy. Some called her hypocritical for being the face of polluting industries while preaching environmentalism. But Gisele didn't back down. She leveraged her contracts to push brands toward sustainability. She used her voice when others stayed silent. And somehow, amid building an empire and saving the planet, she found time for one more adventure: family. In 2009, she married NFL quarterback Tom Brady. By 2012, she had 2 children, plus a stepson from Brady's previous relationship. The supermodel who once dominated every magazine cover was now balancing board meetings with bedtime stories, and she made it look effortless. But behind the perfect image, there were struggles no camera could capture, challenges that would test even the woman who seemed to have it all. The world saw the perfect life, the successful career, the handsome husband, the beautiful children, the fairy tale. But reality was more complicated. Before Brady, there was Leonardo DiCaprio. 5 years? Hollywood's golden couple. The tabloids were obsessed. When they broke up in 2005, the rumors flew. Was it the distance? Was it her rising fame? Years later, Gisele revealed a deeper truth. She had been living with severe anxiety and panic attacks, contemplating suicide at her lowest point. From the outside, she had everything. From the inside, she was drowning. The lifestyle that made her famous was slowly killing her. I had a wonderful position in my career. I was very close to my family, and I always considered myself a positive person, so I was really beating myself up. Like, why should I be feeling this? I felt like I wasn't allowed to feel bad, she told People magazine. So she made dramatic changes, cut out sugar, quit drinking, stopped smoking, began practicing yoga and meditation, found a therapist, slowly rebuilt herself from the inside out. Then came motherhood, a new identity, new priorities. For a woman whose body had been her career, pregnancy brought challenges. My world was turned upside down, she wrote in her memoir, but she adapted, found balance, created a new definition of success. Then 2022 brought the biggest public challenge yet, rumors of trouble with Brady. By early 2023, it was official. Divorce after 13 years of marriage. The perfect couple was no more. Media speculation went wild. Was it his unretirement from football? Her career resurgence? The truth, as always, more complicated than headlines suggested. Through it all, Gisele kept her dignity. Limited interviews, protected her children, focused on healing, and once again reinvented herself. Not as someone's wife, not as just a model, but as Gisele, complete on her own, ready for the next chapter. Today, Gisele Bündchen isn't just surviving in an industry known for chewing people up and spitting them out. She's thriving on her own terms. At 44, when most models have long disappeared from the spotlight, she's still booking major campaigns. But now, she chooses when and where she appears. In 2018, she released her memoir, Lessons: My Path to a Meaningful Life. It wasn't just another celebrity book. It was raw, honest, vulnerable. She shared her battles with anxiety, her environmental passion, her journey to self-acceptance. It became a New York Times bestseller, and it revealed something important. This was a woman who had nothing left to prove. She had conquered fashion, built a business empire, raised a family. Now she was focused on something else: purpose. "I've always tried to focus on becoming the best version of myself," she told Vogue. And that version keeps evolving. Today, she's as likely to post about meditation and plant-based cooking as she is about modeling. Her Instagram shows more moments in nature than moments on runways. After her divorce, when many expected her to retreat, she did the opposite. Returned to the Met Gala, appeared in major campaigns, but also doubled down on her wellness advocacy and environmental work. This wasn't a comeback, it was a continuation. A woman who never needed the industry's validation to begin with. The numbers tell the story. Over $500 million earned, countless magazine covers, contracts that rewrote the rules of the modeling industry. But Gisele's true success lies beyond the stats. She entered an industry known for exploiting young women, and instead of being consumed by it, she mastered it, used it as a platform for something larger, built a legacy that will outlast any fashion trend. Today, new models still cite her as inspiration, brands still scramble to work with her, and the industry that once rejected her for being too exotic now celebrates her as the standard of beauty. That's Gisele Bündchen, not just a model who changed the fashion world, a woman who redefined what success looks like, on her terms, in her way, forever on her own runway.